I hug kids for a living. That's what I do. My number one quality service, if people say, what do you do? I'm like, I hug your children.
Unfortunately, our businesses right now are personality driven. A lot of your clients are coming to see you.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're not there, that's going to be different. Where like, so I got to say too, like one of the things I liked about you is, well, I was at the gym and I don't know if we had talked in a while. I was like, hey, I got to message Tracie, to do a podcast. And that was Thursday.
Yeah.
Today's Saturday. Or was that Tuesday or Thursday?
It was close to the end of the week. I want to say Thursday or Friday even. No, maybe it was Thursday.
Maybe it was Thursday.
Thursday.
And then you told me you have to go in for surgery.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, and I was like, am I going to sound like a dick for saying this? But I was like, can we do Saturday?
Yeah.
Like, right?
No,
and she was like, yeah. So, all right. So obviously with me, I had to have open heart surgery. So you have a lot of things where you're like, is my business going to run, all that stuff. But at that point, you have to prioritize yourself.
Exactly.
There's nothing I can do.
Right.
I can't have my ticker stop. But for you, you were like, now you have to go out too. So do you want to share some of that journey?
Yeah. Well, again, I went for my routine mammograms and just found out that I had, they found a cancer, and I am scheduled this coming Thursday for a double mastectomy by choice. I'm doing that because I've had several friends go through the same process and have said, first they do one, then they do the other, then just let's get it all done in one shot, and then I'm not doing any reconstruction simply because I want the quickest recovery so I can get back to work, and then I can make that decision later if I ever needed to, but I know that's not going to happen. I don't need any of that. But, all of a sudden this comes at you and you think this is never going to happen to me, and then all of a sudden it does, and you have to make decisions. And I'm a planner. I know that every month when my sleepover is going to be, I know every month when my vendor fairs are going to be, I know 5 months in advance what's going to happen. And now everything comes to this kind of stop where people are coming in and I can't promise them a birthday party because I host the birthday parties. I can't say that we can do it overnight this week because I do the overnights. I can't, because I don't know how I'm going to feel. Maybe I'll be great. Maybe I will be able to do it next month. But I'm usually like a month in advance sending them, here's what's happening in May. And now I'm like, I don't know what's happening this month because I have a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks recovery, and then I have no idea what treatment's going to look like. Is it going to be chemo? Is it going to be radiation, which is like 15 minutes a day? And again, that's going to be like, am I going to feel okay to come in? Can I be around the kids? Can I do? It's such an unknown and so not my wheelhouse. Like I am like, I need to know what's happening every day of the week. I know what birthday. I don't know what's going to happen at all this next month, other than Thursday I go in for surgery, and when I get out, I'll let you guys know how I feel, and we'll go from there. But it's been up in the air for about a month and a half, which is the craziest feeling. And then, how much do you tell the kids? How much do you tell the parents? Which parents do you need to tell? Do you want to tell them?
Well, you just told all of them right now.
Well, they all know anyway because I've told them individually. But I mean, it's like a tough nut to tell a parent, because you're good. Like it's stage 1, I know that I'm going to be I'm in the best hands. I have the best I've got. But I mean, it's a scary thing. And then for kids, they all think that I'm going in for a surgery on my tummy, simply because
it's easier.
It's easier than describing that they're removing my breast, they're doing all this stuff, and just telling them that's why I won't be able to hug you when I get back. That is like my number one thing. I hug kids for a living. That's what I do. My number one quality service. If people say, what do you do? I'm like, I hug your children. I go to the school, I hug the kids every morning. I wait outside the school when I drop our kids off, and I hug every single kid that comes into the door. I hug them, I tie their shoes, and I won't be there. And I had to tell some of those parents, like, just in case you don't see me, because I was out for one day with my biopsy, and the kids were coming up to me and they're like, how's your hip? I'm like, my hip? They're like, we saw you limping and my mom said you might have had your hip replaced. And I'm like, no. And then another parent, how's your knee? I'm like, my knee? My daughter said you were limping and you might have had knee surgery. I'm like, so the rumors that spread for one day of me being out, I said, I really don't want people to think like what happened. So I just started telling a few parents that I know would be they'll spread the word, they'll tell. And I said, I'm just letting the kids know that I'm getting my tummy operated on so that if they come home and tell you, that's why, so that I'm going to have a boo-boo on my tummy. I can't hug you for a little bit, and because it's just easier. So they're like, oh yeah. So don't go home and feel you have to give them all the scoop because they're going to tell everybody, and then I'm going to have to go with all that. So it's giving them that information, like here, telling your kids, like. But I think it's good for them to know that this is what they have to do. You know what I mean? Like, and the kids are knowing that like you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right here. So
I got 2 things on that. So I initially didn't want to let anybody know.
Right.
But then I was like, well, once I'm not there,
right,
they're going to be like, where is he?
Did he quit? What happened?
Yeah, so I was like, I made the decision to tell some people, and then it kind of spread, like you said.
Yeah.
And then like one day I was saying, like my phone blew up because this wasn't planned.
Right.
Like, at least you have time to like say.
You had to just go in.
So like one time I had somebody messages, my phone froze.
Oh my my
Like,
God.
and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then I was like, I still, like, I'm the kind of person, like, if you send me a message, I have to respond.
Everybody individually, right?
Yeah. So, but I laughed during that because one of the adults, his daughter asked him, and she's probably 12, and she was like, did Mark get arrested?
Well, this is what I'm saying. You know, the rumors start to fly. Like, did she leave the country? Did she get deported? Like, it could be anything. You don't know what they're making.
He's like, no, he didn't get arrested. I had the surgery.
Well, yeah.
But that's what that's what started. And then, so the other thing too is we don't have a safety net.
No.
So like if I was working full time, I could go on sick leave.
Right.
Right? And like you get paid,
Yeah.
or you go on TDI or whatever it is.
Exactly.
That's the scary thing as an entrepreneur. Like we don't have
None of that.
none of that.
No.
Right?
And making sure that your staff, I mean, the stuff that you do that comes so easily that you don't even think about, like, I gotta turn on the lights, I gotta turn up the heat, I gotta make sure that this is clean, and you just do it. Now you gotta write it all down and make sure that everybody else is following those same protocols. And some of them are bigger and more important than others, and some not so much, but like, it makes a difference because if you do this, then this one's gonna get upset, and this kid's gonna get triggered, and this one's gonna do that, or this is gonna make that parent upset if you don't send that email this way, or it's like all the things that you don't even realize are such a big deal become, oh my gosh, I gotta make sure they know everything about everything I do before I leave. And then you're like, do they really? Like,
Well, they're not going to do it the same way anyway.
Exactly.
Because, and we have great staff, 100%, but like, especially when I was gone, like people stepped up. And we've trained for like when we train every week, but like, sometimes if I go on vacation, they know.
Yeah.
This was like, I'm not going to be here, but a lot of people stepped up.
And again, you didn't know how long you would be out. I mean, as much as they give you like a 4 to 6 window or whatever, that doesn't mean that you're going to respond well, that there isn't going to be a complication, that something else isn't going to arise. So how do you plan for that?
I stayed in contact, and we have a lot of virtual assistants who help us.
Yeah.
But I was released on Friday night. I was here Saturday morning.
See? And that'll be me. I said,
Yeah.
They told me 4 to 6, I'll be back in 2. They said, no, you're not. I go, you guys don't know me. Don't be surprised if I don't show up that week.
Yeah, well, talking about like, what you do. So like, unfortunately, our businesses right now are personality driven.
Yeah.
And I tried to remove myself from it. And so if you don't know what that means, like personality driven means that a lot of your clients are coming to see you.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're not there, that's going to be different. Where like, if you will go into like a fast food restaurant.
Exactly.
That was a chain.
Well, a lot of people like, I can come and help you. And it's not, we're not just babysitting kids. It's a culture.
It's the interaction, the community.
It is. It's everything. It's how you greet everybody, how you get them out of the car, how you get that kid's morning started, how you get them to come onto the mat because they might be a little bit nervous or whatever. You know how to get that kiddo to do something that if your staff doesn't do that, it could be the difference between that kid not signing up, not coming back, or
and
not
two
coming.
good points to that. So like, one of the things I did today, I was teaching a class, and one of the clients was talking about, I just asked random questions, my brain.
Yeah.
So like, I'll teach the class, and if everyone's okay and they know what they're doing, I'll just talk.
Yeah.
Right? Like fun, like, I don't know, like, and so we were on like serial killers, and then it became like, what's your favorite Yankee Candle scent? And she was like, one of our, one of our best clients, she was like, sage and citrus. Put that in my brain. I ordered that candle for her.
Aww.
So when she came in today, it was in her locker.
I love it.
And she loved it. But she's like, what's a joke? Because I'm always joking around.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no joke. Like, I just got through that. Like, I don't know. And she's like, oh, I thought it would be like serial killer. I was like, I should have got you like a bleach scented candle. Because like that, I'm now disappointed because I'm always joking with them. Yeah. But like, that's something that goes like, if you go to a big box gym, that's not happening.
No.
But here's the thing though. You can only provide that service if you charge appropriate prices.
Right.
Like, if you lower your prices, this is one of the issues in the fitness industry, is that fitness studios charge too little, so the product is not good.
Right.
Or the product is you just pay and go and no one coaches you, whatever.
Right.
So you have to be able to charge so you can make a living and then do stuff like that. So if you don't, and that's one of the hardest things with business owners. I have a group text with a couple of group owners who own kickboxing schools. And I'm like, am I the only asshole that has a problem sticking with price? Because I want to help everybody.
Right. Oh, well, that's just it. Everybody that comes to you, you want to help everybody.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is. I mean, there isn't a lot of expendable cash. And I know that what I'm providing is for some families that are home, their kids need to get out of the house. They need to get off the computers. And I know that I'm providing a service that, like, I tell parents, this gives you the opportunity to go do something. Let me entertain your kids. Let me do that for your kids. Get them off the computers after school. But it's a lot. It's a big deal when groceries cost as much as they do, and things that, like, there are some families that are literally giving you their entire paycheck because they know what you're doing and you want to help them out. And then there are other families who are like, they come once a week, they have, a little bit of investment in your company, and they want you to call them, email them, send them all the stuff, and you're saying, oh my gosh, and then you And then they're like, well, then we're just gonna go somewhere else. And you almost say like, well, then it's not the place for you, because I can only do what I can do to help every type of client that comes in here. I wanna give you the same attention I give the person who comes here 5 days a week, but this is what I charge, this is my rules, this is the requirement, like the fee has to be in by this time, and I can't call you every Friday and remind you about that because I've got everything else that's going on too, you know? And if you don't, well, you didn't remind me, you didn't call me, you didn't tell me, well, then put the thing in your phone. And it's not that I don't want, like, love
They have to have some accountability as well. I actually took myself off of the memberships. Like when I'll meet you, like I'll sign you up, but Bethany handles it.
Yeah.
Because she does a way better job.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, you got to understand that sometimes you're the bottleneck of your business.
Exactly.
Like I was like, I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it's hard because coming, like if my business manager calls somebody, they don't question her.
Yes.
They give her what she needs. They give her the information. They give her the credit card. If it's me, can you call me back? Can you give me another thing? Can we trade this day to that? And I'm like, I'm in the middle of like, I've got pre-K going on. I've got things and it's not that I don't want to help you, but like I'm trying to do 15 different things and I'm trying to, and then you say it and they're like, well, you said the other day that you, and I was like, I wasn't saying yes to that. I was saying yes because I was in the middle of it. And then
Well, I'm glad I'm not alone.
no, and it's
'Cause,
hard, and it's hard, and you feel bad for the parent, but you're like, you want to just say to them, like, you know what you were doing. You knew I was busy. You knew I was in the middle of something, and you got me. And now I can't do that again.
Well, sometimes, like I told Bethany, sometimes you have to prioritize the business.
Yeah.
And everything we do in here is like to give the customer
The best experience.
the best experience.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to have that on one hand
Yeah.
and also make money because I pay my employees.
Exactly.
Right.
And
you're
your
probably
rent, and your heat and your bills.
well, you're
I mean,
probably like me. I pay the employees first.
Yeah, me too. And there
Right.
are many weeks that I don't get a paycheck because that's the priority, is making sure that they're all set.
So if we switch gears to like Rhode Island, right? Being a business owner in Rhode Island, like I'm in a business group, and I'm like, you guys don't understand Rhode Island. I'm not making excuses. I'm just letting you know that like people are not traveling 10 minutes to go to a gym or a martial arts school. They're going in their city.
Yeah.
Everything I do is in Cranston.
Yeah.
You know, you'll get
And
the outliers.
everything is in North Providence.
Yeah,
We
so-
don't have anybody outside of our.
And it's not like it's not like almost we'll ever share clients.
Right.
Because we're 15 minutes from each other, 20 minutes, right?
Right.
Rhode Island's such a microcosm. My friend lives in DC. She's like, this is so wild. Like compared to like DC.
Right.
Like everything you have
We'll
to be
travel
connected.
2 hours to go to the gym.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like advertising becomes different. But for Rhode Island, the cost of living is the 14th most expensive state in the United States. And disposable income is 43rd among the United States.
That's
so
crazy.
the cost of living is the 14th most expensive. Disposable income is 43rd. And then the economic outlook is Rhode Island is ranked 39th for economic outlook. And for corruption, I'm going to say probably number 1.
Yeah.
Right? Number 1 for
Well,
corruption.
I mean, the taxes upon the taxes upon the taxes of what we pay as a business owner is out of control. I mean, every time I get another bill, I'm like, how can I pay taxes on the taxes of the taxes I just paid? I don't understand. And it's only in Rhode Island. They'll say, oh, well, that's just a Rhode Island thing. But how much of it is
Does that make it better?
No, exactly. Like, and I'm all about paying my fair share, and as a business owner, contributing what I need to. But there's no way to live. There's no way. I mean, my insurance to open I'm paying what like a trampoline park or like these aero parks are paying because I'm considered an activity center. But I've said to the insurance companies, like, if you came in and look, I have this 2-level play park.
They're staying on the ground.
And they're on the ground,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
all
yeah.
padded and cushioned and netted in. We're not flying or jumping on a trampoline, and yet because we're considered an activity center, not a daycare, that's what it is. So in order for me to get into a different tax bracket, I would need to become a daycare, and I would need to get licensed, and I don't want to do that. So as a business owner, in order to keep the status that I am as an activity center and do what I do, the amount of money that I'm paying is exorbitant. That it's crazy what they're charging to, like, in case something happened. I go, I've been there 7 years now. We've never had one incident, one accident, one complaint, one concern. Isn't there like a credit for that? Or isn't there like a kickback to say like, wow, she really is doing it the right way. She has everything in place. These kids are doing well. And not to say that something couldn't happen, but for what I'm paying, the risk doesn't match, and it's on exposure. So every chair, every table, somebody could sit there. Eventually, when I have a party once a year, like, I never have every chair being used, but that's what they tax you on and what they charge. And you just want to say, like, does this make sense? Like, does this make sense? And every year I'm paying on it, even if it depreciates, the amount of money I'm paying in taxes is out of control just because of this is a Rhode Island thing. So and how do you move your business? Because you can't move your business somewhere else. This is where you live, this is where you thrive, this is where you want to be in your community. But you're penalized for it, kind of, with the taxes that they tax you. It's crazy.
Yeah, and there's nobody coming out to be like, hey, how can I help you?
Right.
Right.
Well, what can we do to make it better?
Yeah, like if you were if you were a state rep or if you were in a position of power where you could change things,
Right.
you should be going to your constituents and being like, how can I help you?
Right.
That's a great thing. Well, let me see what I can do about that, right? Because we want to keep you in business. Not only is something like your activity center good for the community, you know, you're bringing kids into the environment. And if these are kids in North Providence, they're going to be better off going to you and then going to school, right? Because you're setting the foundation. But I don't know. I see a lot of cannabis stuff going around.
Yeah.
You know, who knows if they got tax breaks? Who knows, whatever.
Right.
But then when we're just trying to help kids, you know, improve.
Keep
or
them
adults.
off their computers. Doing good things. We have adult dance clubs. I mean, we do all kinds of things, keeping kids moving. As you know, as a business owner. Kids do not move anymore. They don't move in school. They don't move on the weekends. These are the opportunities to get kids physically moving and healthy to what they're doing. Even with sports, you look at like a baseball team or whatever, it's too hot, it's too cold. The coaches said it's very hard to motivate the kids. They don't want to train, they don't want to run, they don't want to have practice. The parents are calling, I don't think they should have practice tonight because it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too rainy, it's too this. Oh my gosh, like when did that ever happen when you were a kid?
Well, I actually watched I thought it was a minor league baseball game. I hadn't been one till I was that age, 10, 11, and I was with my girlfriend because it was her son, and I was like, I'm not trying to be mean right now.
Right.
And I was excited to go and watch.
Yeah.
I was like, how come they can't catch the ball? Like,
exactly.
When I was their age, like there were some teams throwing double plays.
Yeah.
And I was like, they couldn't even catch it.
Even when they run to the bases and stuff like that, they're not running. Like, you look at like, I don't know, like, and maybe I'm not a sports person. My kids were, I have 3 boys. They weren't ever built for sports. They tried basketball and I sat there and I didn't know how to help them. They did baseball and they're like, Mom, you never yell. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Wiggle your butt, shake your shoulders. That's where I come from. Like, I'm not but like, I don't know, you don't see them out there throwing the ball, running passes, and the parents, a lot of them are asking the coaches, like, you're working them too hard. How are they going to learn? How are they going to train? And are you going to go home and, like, you used to play catch at home with your family? Right?
Yeah.
Parents just don't do that anymore. They're working, they're doing things like that. Like, I have kids that come to me that can't tie their shoes. They're in 4th and 5th grade. And I tell parents, she's like, oh, just get them the Velcros. Or why don't you let me teach them how to tie your shoes? Or your child can't put on their coat. Oh, it's a really tricky zipper. Well, then show them how to use the coat or take them and get them a coat that they can use. They can't open the packages in their lunches. It's too hard. I don't want to eat it. Here's a pair of scissors, cut the thing. Or like I would take my kids and I would make them eat at home what I was going to pack them for lunch. And if they couldn't open it, if they didn't eat it, I knew that that's not what I was going to send them for lunch. And I say, you should do like a trial run. Like go buy them the lunch you're going to send to school and watch them eat it at home. And if they can't, like those pizza Lunchables where they squirt the sauce, I mean, they're playing and finger painting it. They're not eating any of it. And they eat the cheese and that's it. And the whole rest of it gets thrown in the garbage.
Well, my dad would say, you know, if I couldn't open the thing,
that's
like,
it.
You'll get hungry.
Yeah.
Like you'll learn how to open it up.
We teach our pre-K kids how to open the packages. We teach them how to, drink their juice pouches and open the little flaps so it doesn't squirt a little bit. Like they don't do even the basic skills, and parents aren't taking the time, I think, to show them those. Like they just do it for them.
Well, do you think? And one of the reasons we obviously know why kids are like that. Well, COVID for some of them.
Right.
But technology.
Yeah.
Right. Everything's instant.
Exactly. And parents are in a hurry, so instead of letting them put on the coat, they do it for them. They put on the shoes. Like I have kids come over and go like this. I go, take off your shoe. They go like this, like I'm supposed to take off their shoe, and I go, but yeah, I can't, it's too hot. I'm like, push. 3 days later, the parent's like, I don't know how you got him to do that. He never takes them off for me. I just told him I wasn't gonna take them off, and if he wanted to go play, he had to take off his shoes, and he's doing it.
Yeah.
But like, and I get it, I'm not.
Well, and I'm not a parent, so I can't really speak on this, but like tablets, like you just put your kid on the tablet and like it takes care of them.
That's what they do.
Right?
Like, they leave me till the time they go to bed most of the time, and we have parents that say, I don't know how to get it. My kids on Sundays, we don't have any technology in our house.
I remember that.
Everything's unplugged, and to this day, now, one cooks breakfast with me, one cooks lunch, one cooks dinner, and they have to like let me know on Saturday what I have to go buy at the store. Sometimes they come with me, we go shopping, but they're learning how to cook, they're learning how to clean, we take care of the house in between. They all have chores, they have things to do, and I mean, studies have shown that kids that do chores and are more confident, they are more qualified to do things. Like, there's no reason why they can't do I'm not saying to make your kid the slave in your house, but they can put their laundry away, they can take care of their things, they have to take ownership. And I tell them their rooms are their rooms, that's your world. You want to leave it messy, you live in that world. No food, no whatever, but that's your world. And after a while, they go back in there and they clean it up, because if they want to have their friend over, they want to do something, they're not going to have them in that space. But I just unplug, and I tell parents, just unplug, play a game with them, watch a movie, do something together. And you're gonna find that it might be tough for the first couple of times, but you're the leader of that. So when you give it to them right when they get in the car and they're on a tablet to go from my place to the 5-minute drive home and they didn't look out the windows, that's a problem. When they drive, they're not gonna know where they are. They're not gonna be able to locate where they're going. My kids don't use phones in the car. They have to be in the car. They have to be able.
Well, we talk about in jiu-jitsu, there's really two main things where like somebody would, we talk about a kid, like I don't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
Number one is if they are late to class.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they come late to class, they're already anxious.
Yeah.
Right? And they can't control that because
right. Yeah.
they can't control that because it's the parent driving.
Yeah.
So, and parents wouldn't know this. We've been doing it so long that we see, like if the kid's not here early, you're already anxious coming into class.
Right.
So now you associate the studio with being anxious or I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right? But just because you're coming late. Now, if it's once in a while, your kid's usually okay. But if you're consistently late, then it puts that kid in that, the kid knows
Yeah.
that they're late.
Yeah.
But the second thing is if they're playing a game before they come in.
Yeah.
Right? So if someone's playing a video game and you're like, hey, you want to go to jiu-jitsu and do like push-ups and stuff like that? I don't want to go.
Right.
Makes sense. As a 42-year-old man, if I started playing video games at 8 in the morning, I probably wouldn't want to go to the gym. I wouldn't want to go to work.
No.
Right? So you got to get them off the tablets before. And I remember when I was a kid too, like I only played video games at night, and I don't even think I did it on weekdays.
No.
I did it on weekends.
Right.
I mean, when I got to middle school and high school, I did, but as elementary school, the best thing my mother did was like right after class, I got home at 3 o'clock. I had a snack, and I did my homework across the board.
That's what they have to do too.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference because then if you wait till it's later,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do my homework at 6 o'clock.
No.
This is where anxiety can be good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you were talking about the anxiety of someone can take your spot
Yeah.
as a cheerleader. The anxiety of like, I gotta get my work done
Yeah.
before I can do anything
Well,
else.
my
You
boys know that
prioritize.
if I get home and they haven't done their chores, their homework, and eaten dinner, then the next day they lose the phone and their tablets. It's gone. I put it in my room, and the next night they show me that they've done it, and I give it back to them. And some nights they'll say, I just couldn't get it all done. I wanted to get to the game, and they know that they've made that sacrifice, but they lose it. I mean, no phone to go to school, no tablet for the next night. I gotta get my homework done. You have a Chromebook. You got to use it. I'm sorry, you brought on that consequence. And they have to learn that that's what they need to do. But we limit the time too. We have, put the parameters on so that they only get the Wi-Fi during certain times. So now they know that it's not going to go on till 4 or 5 o'clock. So what are you going to do from 2 to 4? Get your homework done, get all that stuff done?
Yeah, that's smart.
So they don't even have access to it because they're home by themselves. They're teenagers now. But you set that plan and what they do. And I mean, they said it's like a drug. You pull it off and they literally are showing the same withdrawals as a person coming off a drug. The dopamine that they get and the quick fix and the entertainment that they have. When kids come to me and tell me, I'm bored, that's great. You know what that means? That means you have to come up with a way to entertain yourself. And they look at me like, what? And I'm like, isn't that fantastic? When we were bored, we played with boxes, we played with things, and people thought, oh my gosh, my kid would rather have the box or the toy that's inside of it. And it was so true. We built forts, we went outside. My kids, if I make them go, can we come back in? I'll tell them to bring their homework outside and go sit on the deck and do it outside. And sometimes before the end of it, they're like, can we just go for a walk? Just being outside changed their whole, they don't want to sit in their room and just be in that dark.
Your child's playing video games all day, but now they got to go do jiu-jitsu, they got to run,
Yeah.
they got to do push-ups, they got to do all this stuff, and the kids are like, I don't want to go. Like, obviously you don't want to go because
Right.
you're playing video games for 2 hours, but it's up to the parents to be like, you're going.
Right. If you shut down on the way here and the whole way here saying, hey, listen, I can't wait to watch you today do those push-ups and sit-ups. I'm so proud of you when you do that.
If they're an active
You're already getting
participant.
the kid excited to do something that you're telling them that you can't wait to go and see them do what they're doing. If a parent's going to be like, well, won't you miss me? Won't you? I'm trying to help you here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get this kid in here.